Heyo, welcome. This is going to be a tutorial showing you exactly how to set up my software VMSC for streaming. I'll walk you through the basics and anything you'd possibly need to know with this. Now, in case you haven't downloaded it already yet, make sure you open up your browser and go to vmsc.vrionic.com. The link should be in the description or wherever this was sent to you from. Now you can get started, you can walk through all this, but what we're going to do now is download the most recent version, download anyway, and then once it's done, just feel free to open it. Now, for first-time users who haven't installed this yet, Windows will pop this up because I'm an unsigned developer. There's no big fancy hacking going on. I haven't had the money to put this together yet. But don't worry about this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Documentation is all on my page. What we're going to want to do is click More Info, and then Run Anyway. Then it'll walk you through this installer. You can choose where you want it to go to. Cool. And once it's done installing, just feel free to run it. Now, the first time setup will take a second. And it'll shoot you onto this page. Now, you can either sign in with Patreon, which is free. You don't have to have a subscription in order to use Patreon. Or you can make your own account here on this page. And once you've logged in with Patreon, it'll detect whether or not you have a Patreon subscription. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. Just click through here and click Got It. Now, normally, what it'll do, which won't happen here, is it'll pop up this tutorial right here. This is a simple guide that'll guide you through the entirety of the software, piece by piece. I won't go through all of this myself. That's what this video is for. So one of the first things you want to do is check on your rules and actions. So from dashboard, you'll go rules and actions. These are the majority of where you'll do most of your setups, your avatars, your outfits, whatever you want in here. Now, to set all this up, what you'll have to do is go into sources, which is the tab under here, which will have your TikTok, your Tickfinity, your Twitch, whatever you wish. What you're going to want to do is click here and type in your username on TikTok, and then click this big red button, which will be right here that says login with TikTok. And once you do, you'll have access to the text-to-speech. You'll be able to detect when you go live. Simple. Now, from the dashboard, what we're going to set up is going to rules and actions, and then you'll click a new rule. I already have 5 in here, so I don't need to do that. What you're going to want to do is once that's open, it'll pop up this window. And here is what you set the rules to do. Now, these will allow you to choose any sort of action from whichever platform you desire, or multiple. You can set it to be a gift, a like goal, a battle starting, whatever you want. New follower, whatever. Now, for example, I have gift received here. So that means I would click gift received, browse gift catalog, and you can choose from a list of however many gifts that you want in here. Now, let's say hat. Yep, hat and mustache. So that means whenever this detects that it's a hat and mustache that you get, it will trigger whichever action you have set up here. Now, normally for you, there won't be an action here. So what you're going to want to do is click save. After you name it, of course. Something up here, whatever you wish it to be. Now, once you do that, you'll switch over to the Actions tab, and then choose whichever action you wish to make. Now, you can do a new action, but if you already have pre-existing ones, you can just edit them yourself. So for example, this is the bread and butter of the software. When you click here, an action will execute whatever a rule dictates. A rule is an if, the action is a then. So if this gift or this like goal, then do this. Now, I have it currently set as a Twitch action as a test, but you can do whatever you want. You could do avatar shifts, VR chat, OSC parameters, streaming overlays, you could hook up a PyShock, you could change your OBS settings. All of that can be triggered through in here. Now, for example, say you wanted to change an OBS scene. You click the OBS Studio section, and you click the switch scene, which there's a list of many others, and then you input the name of your scene that you currently have in OBS, and it'll auto-detect and switch to whatever one you named. Obviously, if you have an incorrect name, it's not going to switch to it. But the same can apply to a VRChat OSC parameter, where you'll find your VRChat OSC avatars, you can click them, go through their parameters, and set whichever ones you want up. Once you've selected your chosen action, you can either have it execute immediately, or wait, and combine gifts, or rate limit it to per user. That way people don't spam. For the moment, we'll just leave it as new action and it'll be set to OBS Studio switch scene. Once you finish setting up your actions, you'll come back to the Rules tab, edit the rule that you just made, select the action that you want it to be. So for example, new action that controls voice mod. You'll click save. Oh, it's clarifying. You'll click save. Now, when you go to test, if you simulate a hat and mustache, trigger, it triggers. Now, I don't have my OBS set up currently, but you would do that with any other action you currently have in here. And that could be from a myriad of other platforms, could be an overlay, could be visual alerts, PyShocks, VTubers, whatever you think. If you wanted to play a sound effect, you can as well. Now, once you're done with the rules and actions and feel like you're more confident in creating your rules and actions, you can head over to the Goals tab. You can set up goals to trigger whatever you want. Whatever actions you've set up in here, the goal can trigger that. Whatever you want it to be. It could be a like goal, a gift goal, diamonds, shares, peak viewers, whatever you want. So for example, if I get 5,000 likes, I'll have it trigger my Mega Shock section. Now, the sound section is for everybody. This is essentially a soundboard that can be triggered via the action section. What you'll do is a new sound. You can choose a thumbnail if you want, but it doesn't matter. You can choose an audio file, which, for example, I have here. It's a notification. So, whenever I decide that an action is to trigger a sound alert, this file, or a folder of files, whichever random one, can be triggered through here. Previewing them is really easy. All you have to do is click Preview. And that's it. Simple. To set that up in an action, it would go to an action, a new action normally. Then you'd edit the action, find the sound alert section, click it. That'll show up here. Now, you can select either a specific sound or a random, whichever one you want. You'll select it. You can set the volume override yourself, but 0 means nothing. So that means whenever this action gets triggered, that sound alert will go off. There are other things to look at too. If you want to set up the text-to-speech, there is an entire text-to-speech system, which utilizes both TikToks and Microsoft Edges. Now, if you're not logged into TikTok, it'll ask you to before this even activates. You can set this up as any other system. You can set these up per platform, whichever ones you want. I'll have in-depth videos for each of these sections as we go along. This is just a brief overview. There's also a voice command section where it'll prompt you to install and start the voice command section here. Now, you can set your system default input device. You can set command presets, which will basically say, hey, once it detects my voice and I say this exact word, it will trigger that action. For example, I used to have a made outfit section, which would trigger an outfit on my avatar whenever I said made outfit. That can be set up independently. You just have to select your language, input device, and it should automatically detect your voice from that point on. If you ever want to turn it off, there is a big red stop button up here if it's not already green. Now, if you want to set up your PyShock, you can set your username, find your API key from the PyShock website. There are guides to figure out how to do that. Obviously, I'm not going to show that here. But once you do, the software will scan for your shockers. And all you'll need to do is once they're here, all you have to do is click Save Shockers, and they'll be added to your account on here. Connecting to your voice mod is easy. As long as voice mod is running, no matter what version you are, it should be able to find it and detect it. Now, if you want to check for updates, and there's nothing currently up here at the top right, which is where normally updates would show up, you can come to the General tab in Settings and check for updates. In case you want to see all of what the software is doing in the background, you can open up its own custom task manager. Now, for storage controls, in case you want to do anything here, it asks you just in case, because, well, you could truly break your software if you didn't know what you were doing here. If you need any more in-depth help that this video doesn't help you with, there is an inbuilt tutorial system where you'll click on any one of these and it'll guide you through same way you would like a college class. Now, from the dashboard, you can see all of your connected streaming softwares here, and if you want to, there are also live chats and stream decks you can open. These are independent links that will have every single chat platform, as well as a deck that lets you control the entire software from a different window. There's not much you need to set up here. There are options to customize if you really want to, but that's not what we're here for. And that's all you need to know for the major overview. There's not much else that I can do without delving in depth into each section, which will take 30 minutes each. So for the moment, this is all you really need to know. Now, anything else would be you only get 5 rules and actions whenever you are not a premium member. And you get only, I believe it was 5 goals? Yes, it was 5 goals and 3 outfits whenever you're not a premium member. You don't get access to the AI Assistant tab, and you don't get access to the plugins tab. But that's all. Everything else is free for you to test. Aside from that, the software will constantly check for you being live on whichever platform you have set up, and it'll always show which platforms you're currently connected on in the top right. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any bug reports, reach out to me in Discord. I'll see you around.